Israelis gather together to protest their right to rape Palestinian women. I wish I could say that was hyperbole, but this story is going to get dark. I'm letting you know now. Israeli protesters stormed a military base after several soldiers were detained after gang raping a Palestinian detainee. Now, upon hearing that, you might be thinking that those protesters are there to defend the innocence of these soldiers. But unfortunately, you would be wrong. Not only are the protesters defending the right to this particular woman, but Israeli lawmakers and politicians alike have come to defend the protesters, the soldiers, and the right for either of them to rape Palestinian detainees in the future. When a Palestinian lawmaker asks whether or not it was legitimate to insert a stick into a person's rectum, Mildwitsky, a lawmaker, responds with, "Everything is legitimate to do to him if he is Nukba." Israeli finance minister and basically the overlord of the West Bank said that the protests to support the soldiers who gang this Palestinian were justified. Now, I need you all to remember that this is all happening within the context of Israelis feigning outrage about debunked claims of sexual assault and on October 7th to justify a genocide in Gaza. And of course, this is not the first nor the only story that we've heard about Israelis sexually assaulting Palestinian detainees, only for us to hear silence from the Israeli media and all the people who were feigning outrage about October 7th. But what makes all of this even more insane is that on this day, July 30th, 2023, Israel passed a law doubling the punishment of sexual assault if they felt it was considered to be of nationalistic or racial motivation. Critics of the law at the time said that this is obviously racially motivated and it would not be applied in situations where Israelis were raping Arabs. I've maintained consistently that most of these Zionists only want to use the idea of sexual assault to paint these Arabs as predators. And of course, to justify genocide. And not only do we have the qualitative evidence now to prove that, we know now that there is literally a law to punish Arabs double for something the Israelis are actually known to be guilty of. And that Israeli lawmakers believe Israelis are exempt from that law. So in conclusion, for the 1000th time, just know, when it comes to Zionists in Israel, every single accusation is a confession.